Discover the incredible note that changed everything. How my daughter's hidden motives were exposed. Jake sat on the edge of Lily's bed. A mound of clothes, a pitiful testament to fatherhood's constant chaos. He sighed, battling the weight of his long hours at the plant. The churning of machines played in the background of his mind, a never-ending cycle of work and worry. But today would be different. Today, he would sort through the mess and reclaim the space for his bright, spirited daughter, a daughter he worked long hours for. As he rummaged through old toys and forgotten papers, his fingers brushed against something unusual. A folded note, hidden in the pages of her favorite book, caught his attention. His pulse quickened as he opened it. The words on the page hit him like a freight train. I'll enter every contest I can find. We can save our house. I have to do this for Dad. Each line forced his heart to twist with pride and terror. His daughter, at only 12, was already plodding her way through life's challenges with a fierce determination he admired. But the realization stung. She was neglecting her schoolwork in this quest. In a world where they were barely making it, did she really believe this was the answer? He tightened his grip on the note, its edges biting into his palm, and he swallowed hard. Jake's thoughts danced wildly. This wasn't just about the house. It was about their future, her future. It felt like the ground was shifting beneath him. As he paced, recalling each deadline looming over their heads, the bills, the inevitable foreclosure, ashamed tears pricked at the corners of his eyes. The local community had rallied around them, organizing bake sales and charity drives. But was he wrong for leaning on their support? Damn it! As a veteran, self-reliance was ingrained in him, but watching Lily struggle found his old-school values twisted into knots. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Complications grew when a businessman set his sights on their home, eyeing the land for new developments. It felt surreal, a tangible betrayal of their dreams. The community's spirit shone through fundraisers, but aching pride gnawed at him. That night at the town hall meeting, Jake sat among friends, each face a mosaic of concern. Lily, clutching her note with shaking hands, dared to rise. There was a moment, the collective sound of a breath being held as she spoke, her voice shaking but resolute. She stood for more than just finances. Her pain, her dreams, the fight for their life together spilled into the room. Her words ignited the crowd, revealing their shared struggles. In that moment, Jake's heart swelled with a fierce sense of unity, but also apprehension. Would they fight for each other, or would he fracture under the pressure? As Lily's eyes locked onto his, seeking the comfort of his approval, the urgency pinned him to the spot. This was no longer just a family fight. Would love fuel their resilience enough to conquer the harsh realities of their world? The tension in the room was palpable. Jake watched as Lily's small figure stood tall against the backdrop of their concerned neighbors. Her voice, tremulous yet brave, cut through the silence. Each word she spoke seemed to pull the community closer together, stitching together a fabric of shared experience and hope. Still, doubt crept into his mind. Would they really be able to save their home? When she finished, the applause was thunderous, echoed by enthusiastic shouts of agreement. "We won't let the business bulldoze you," someone shouted from the back. Jake felt a rush of gratitude, swelling within him like a tide threatening to overflow its banks. Yet at the same time, a cold dread settled in his stomach. "Dad," Lily called, her voice slicing through his spiraling thoughts. "Did you hear them?" He mustered a smile. "Of course I did, sweetheart. You were amazing." But inside, his heart was pounding, drowning out the cheers of support. Did they truly understand what this meant? That even with all this backing, the weight of reality still loomed heavy. After the meeting ended, their friends gathered around, giving encouraging words and reaffirming their commitment. Jake felt completely torn. The warmth of community support enveloped him, but the knot of responsibility tightened around his chest. How could he allow Lily to bear this burden alone? She had enough on her plate without worrying about saving the house. That evening, they returned home, the weight of the emotional outpouring still lingering in the air. Jake opened the door and stepped inside, feeling the familiar creep of chaos. Toys were scattered across the living room, remnants of a childhood not yet lost. He glanced at Lily, who was staring at the note again, her eyes shimmering in the dim light. "What are you thinking?" he asked, breaking the silence that thickened the air between them. She folded the note slowly. "About the contests. I want to start working on my plan tomorrow." Lily, he hesitated, searching for the right words. "You don't have to shoulder this all alone. We can do this together." "But I want to do it for you," she insisted, a determined glint sparking in her eyes. "You work so hard for us, Dad. I want to help." Jake's heart clenched. He saw so much of himself in her fierce spirit. Yet, at the same time, he felt overwhelmed with a sense of protectiveness. "You're still a kid. You should be focused on school, friends. I can do both," she protested, passion burning in her voice. "Maybe we can find a balance," he suggested, his mind racing. Jake recognized the path they were on was fraught with potential pitfalls, but the fire in her determination was undeniable. As they sat down together at the kitchen table, surrounded by the remnants of dinner, an idea began to take root. What if they approached the contests together? If they channeled that energy into learning and fun, maybe this could be a journey they shared. As they brainstormed ideas, laughter replaced the tension, and for a moment, the storm clouds that loomed over their lives parted. They made plans, their heads bent together, fingers scribbling notes on scrap paper. But as Jake glanced out the window, the world beyond felt ominous. The businessman's dark figure kept surfacing in his mind, a reminder of the constant threat hanging over them. With every contest entry they worked on, they would have to confront the reality they faced. Could they really turn their dreams into reality, or would their efforts fall short? The next morning would set a new course, a chance to face their fears head-on. As the night settled, Jake knew they were on the edge of something significant, and despite the fear that clung to him, hope flickered brighter than ever before. Tomorrow they would need to decide. Was this chaotic adventure worth pursuing with everything on the line? The sleep that came was restless, full of uncertainty and the whispered promise of change. The morning sun sliced through the curtains, illuminating the chaotic kitchen where Jake and Lily had gathered. As he poured cereal into bowls, Jake felt a flicker of excitement. Today could be the turning point they needed. Lily buzzed around him, her energy infectious even in her pajamas. "Dad, can we start with the bake sale idea?" she asked, her eyes sparkling. "Everyone loves brownies." "Absolutely," he replied, ruffling her hair affectionately. "But let us brainstorm what else we could sell. We want to make it big." Lily's mind swirled with ideas. "What if we hold the bake sale at the park? More people will come." "Great thinking." Jake felt pride. As they collaborated, the looming threats of the previous night began to fade into the background. They talked about decorations, posters, and how to spread the word. While they worked, Jake could see a spark igniting within Lily, something deeper than just a desire to help. This was her passion, her mission. He couldn't remember the last time he saw her so determined. Yet, a currently lurking fear bubbled up inside. Was he encouraging a childhood burden upon her? Lily half-skipped around the kitchen, gathering ingredients in boxes. "Oh, we should do cookies too. And cupcakes. What do you think about a theme? Why not save the house? It's catchy." He chuckled, tapping his chin thoughtfully. Just then the doorbell rang, shattering their moment of creative flow. Jake opened the door to find Mr. Thompson, one of their neighbors, with a basket filled with baked treats. The old man beamed. "I heard about your plans. Didn't want you to get started without something sweet." "Thank you, Mr. Thompson. This will help a lot," Jake replied, surprised and grateful. "Just let me know if you need anything else. We're all behind you." Mr. Thompson's words wrapped around Jake like a warm blanket. As the neighbor walked away, Jake turned to Lily, and her expression changed suddenly. She looked deep in thought, biting her lip. "What's up, Dad?" What if she hesitated, then plunged ahead? "What if we created a social media page for this? Reach out to more people." "Brilliant!" he exclaimed, his heart racing with adrenaline. "We can showcase the things we're selling, share updates, and get the community involved." The two dove headfirst into planning more. Jake opened his laptop, and they started drafting posts together. As they worked, Lily suggested including stories from their neighbors about the community. People love personal stories. Hours passed as they built their online presence, a lightness hanging in the air. The doorbell rang again, followed this time by familiar voices. Their friends from the community began to trickle in, each with fresh ideas and supplies. They were drawn together by hope, each person stepping into the role of collaborator. The mood in the house transformed as more laughter echoed against the walls. Jake felt the weight he had been carrying slowly lift. Perhaps they wouldn't just fight for their home, but build something even more profound, a community. As dusk draped its warm glow outside, Jake watched Lily buzzing around, sharing ideas and laughter with their friends. A thought flickered through him. This was more than just about saving their house. It was about creating a foundation for the future. But as the evening went on, that familiar unease returned, the fear of what would happen if their efforts weren't enough. Jake's stomach churned, the prospect of failure lingering, maddeningly close. Would they truly rally the community and make their dream a reality? Or would the weight of external pressure crush their spirits? As the last light faded and they wrapped up their brainstorming, a silence settled in, filled with hopeful uncertainty. What would the next day reveal? The next morning, the world outside was shrouded in mist. Jake woke up to an early chill that seeped through the windows. The excitement of yesterday hung in the air, but it was tangled with his worries. Would people really come together? Would they care enough to support them? Lily was already awake. He found her in the living room, a swirl of colored paper and markers scattered around her. "Look, Dad," she exclaimed, holding up a vibrant poster she'd made. "I want this one to be our centerpiece for the bake sale." Jake examined the poster, a drawing of their house with children playing in front of it, a clear message of love and togetherness. Her creativity made the knot in his stomach loosen a bit. "It's perfect, honey. Really brings out the message we want." Lily bounced on her toes. "Can we hang it at the park today when we check it out?" "Yes, let us do that," Jake replied, buoyed by her enthusiasm. They quickly planned their day, deciding to visit the park first to scout locations. After a quick breakfast, they packed their things before heading out. The chill outside felt lively, invigorating. As they arrived at the park, the sun peeked through the clouds, casting soft rays that danced upon the grass. "Looks like a great spot," said Jake, surveying the area. There were picnic tables under the big oak trees, and an open field nearby perfect for games. "What if we have a small performance too?" Lily suggested. "Like music or a little play?" Jake laughed and nodded. "Why not? It'll attract even more people." They began sketching out ideas, marking where everything should go, when they heard giggles nearby. A group of kids from the neighborhood played tag, their laughter echoing amidst the trees. Lily's smile widened, her eyes sparkling in delight. But as she watched, Jake caught a look of introspection on her face, a fleeting shadow that made his heart race in concern. "Hey, you okay?" he asked gently. "Yeah, just thinking," she replied, her gaze fixed on the children. There was something deeper in her words, a hint of uncertainty that twisted at Jake's heart. As the day progressed, they decided to return home. On the way, Jake noticed Lily's excitement was melding with something more somber. "You know, if you want to talk about anything, I'm here," he said softly. "I want to do this for us," Lily finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I don't want to let everyone down." Jake felt a sting in his chest. The innocence of his daughter weighed against the harsh reality they faced. "You're not letting anyone down, Lily." He took a deep breath. "We're all here for each other, remember?" She nodded slowly, though doubt lingered in her eyes. The drive felt longer as they returned home in silence, both absorbed in their thoughts. Once inside, they were greeted by a flurry of messages on their social media page, likes, comments, and offers to help. At that moment, a wave of relief washed over Jake. Maybe, just maybe, they weren't alone in this fight after all. He looked at Lily, a smile creeping onto his face. "See, look at all the support we're getting. This is just the beginning." Lily's face lit up a bit, but he could tell she was still wrestling with her fears. Just then, the doorbell rang again. Jake exchanged a glance with Lily. Another surprise? They opened the door to find Mrs. Sanchez, the neighbor from 2 doors down, carrying a tray of homemade muffins. "I couldn't help but bring some treats to get you through the planning," she said, beaming at them. "Thank you, Mrs. Sanchez. They look delicious," Jake exclaimed, feeling buoyed again. But just as relief settled in, a chill crept back into his heart. What would happen when the bake sale day arrived? Would it be enough? Dad, I just want everyone to know how much it means to me, Lily said quietly, clutching the muffins. Jake hugged her tightly. And it will, Lily. It will. As they began to weave plans for the upcoming bake sale, an unexpected message dinged on his phone, a reminder of the bank meeting scheduled for the next week. The one they'd both been dreading. Could they pull this off before time ran out? A wave of anxiety settled in once more. They had to make it mean more than just a bake sale. They had to ignite hope and a sense of belonging. What were the stakes if they didn't? Amid the swirl of uncertainty, Jake turned to Lily and whispered, "Tomorrow is all about hope. Let us not lose sight of that." But how far could hope carry them when faced with the impending reality? The following day dawned bright and clear, the mist of yesterday replaced by a brilliant blue sky. Jake woke up feeling a renewed sense of determination. Today was about more than just a bake sale. Today was about hope, community, and the strength that came from uniting for a cause. When he glanced over at Lily, still sleeping peacefully with a smile on her face, he felt a flutter of optimism. They decided to head to the park early, excited to set up their vision. Jake brewed coffee while Lily prepared her poster. The scent of coffee filled the house, warming the space around them as they talked about their plans in between sips. Jake could see Lily's spirit lifting with each idea they shared. Once they arrived at the park, it was bustling with morning joggers and families out for a stroll. Jake felt their energy. It encouraged him, and it fueled Lily's excitement too. They staked out a prime spot by the big oak tree, perfect for the games and activities they wanted to host. As they began to assemble their tables and decorations, Jake marveled at how the community was already coming together. A couple of friends joined to help with the setup, bringing along fresh ideas and cheerful banter. "Dad, what if we make it a picnic day?" Lily suggested, her eyes dancing at the idea. "Everyone could bring food and we can share." "Brilliant," Jake replied, his heart swelling with pride at her ability to think beyond themselves. Together, they took care of the logistics, dividing the responsibilities and laughing at the random mishaps. Just when they had almost everything ready, Jake received a text from a friend, Mark, asking if they needed more pastries. "Lily, looks like we're getting even more support. People really want to chip in," he said excitedly. But just as hope began to bloom, the nagging doubts crept back in. "Dad, what if no one shows up?" Lily asked, her enthusiasm dimming slightly. "What if we didn't plan it right?" Jake paused, searching for the right words. "Sweetheart, it's not just about the turnout. It's about everyone coming together to show they care," he reassured her. "But we'll make it fun. Let us focus on making memories and not just numbers." Lily bit her lip, clearly still worrying. Jake wished he could erase her concerns with a magic word. They set up the decorations, and with every balloon they tied to the posts, Jake felt a rush of hope that this was about much more than they could control. As they stepped back to look at their handiwork, Lily turned to him, eyes shining with something deeper. "Dad, I think this is going to be kind of special." "Why is that?" Jake asked, leaning in. "Because we made it together, and it shows that even if we're scared, we can still try," she said softly, her voice catching slightly. Before he could reply, Mrs. Sanchez returned, this time with her children in tow, who brought even more muffins. "I told the kids what you're doing, and they couldn't wait to help." As laughter filled the air and children gathered around to offer their ideas, Jake felt a warmth spread through him. For the first time today, he dared to believe that maybe they really could inspire others, that maybe they could spark connections in their little corner of the world. But just as he leaned into that hope, he overheard a conversation nearby that made his stomach drop. "Are they really going to be able to keep that place?" one adult murmured. "I heard the bank is really cracking down." Jake's heart sank. Could their efforts be in vain? He exchanged glances with Lily and saw the flicker of concern in her eyes. "What if we can't save our home after all?" she asked quietly. In that moment, Jake felt the weight of uncertainty settle heavily upon his chest. Would their efforts be enough? Was their fight even worth it? And as the day stretched ahead of them, filled with possibility, he knew they had to confront an even bigger challenge, the reality that lay ahead. Would they truly be able to make a difference, or would fear snuff out their hope entirely? The morning unfolded with an air of anticipation. Families arrived, bringing dishes for the picnic, children squealing with delight as they rushed toward the playground. Jake stood proud beside Lily, who was handing out flyers with a big grin plastered on her face. She had truly embraced the spirit of the day. "Look at all these people," Jake said, glancing around at the growing crowd. "This is amazing, huh?" Lily nodded enthusiastically. "Yeah, and they're all here for a good reason." As the sun climbed higher, stories and laughter mingled in the air like the delicious scents wafting from home-baked goods. Mrs. Sanchez had set up a table overflowing with muffins, her kids running around spreading even more cheer. Jake felt a sense of pride swell within him, but the shadow of fear still lurked at the edges of his mind, gnawing at the edges of his joy. He caught snippets of conversations again. A few adults gathered near the edge, whispering about the upcoming bank auction. Worry etched across their faces, reflecting his own doubt. "Dad, can we start with the games?" Lily's voice pierced through his thoughts. Of course. He tried to shake off the unease. "Let us get everyone involved." Lily led the way, grabbing a microphone to announce the first game. "All right, everyone. It's time for the three-legged race." The crowd buzzed with excitement, and a few kids jumped up and down, their energy infectious. Jake joined in, cheering as pairs of children fell and giggled while trying to navigate the course tied together. With each crash and laugh, Jake felt the weight of uncertainty lift a bit more. But in the back of his mind, the fear simmered. What would happen when the games ended? As the morning turned to afternoon, Jake noticed Lily talking to a young girl named Emma. They were huddled close, exchanging ideas. Jake admired her energy, but there was something in Emma's eyes that made him uneasy, a flicker of knowing that he couldn't quite place. Later, as they gathered for lunch, Lily came beaming back to him. "We had the best idea, Dad. Emma wants to have a talent show." "A talent show?" Jake repeated, skepticism creeping in again. "Yeah, everyone can show what they can do. It'll be fun." Lily insisted. "We can end the day on a high note." He masked his hesitation with a smile and agreed. "All right, let us do it." The talent show began with laughter and applause echoing through the park. The kids sang, danced, and performed skits, each act bringing a new surge of joy. But as the energy pulsed with excitement, Jake's mind wandered back to the darker whispers he had overheard. Suddenly, the talent show was interrupted by an unexpected voice. It was Emma, stepping up to the microphone, her little face serious. Everyone?" She paused, collecting her thoughts before continuing. "I have something really important to say." Jake exchanged a worried glance with Lily, who shrugged, her previous confidence fading. "I know you're all here to help save the community center," Emma continued, her voice unwavering. "But there's something we need to do." The crowd quieted, curiosity piqued. "We need to show the bank how much this place means to us. We need to write letters and share our stories. If we all speak up, they'll listen." A hush fell over the park, followed by whispers and nods of agreement. Jake's heart raced. Could it be that simple? Would the community rally together beyond this day? Before he could ponder further, the crowd erupted in applause, and Lily turned to him, eyes wide. "Dad, she's right. We can do this." The hope unfurling felt like a fire warming him from the inside out. But just as that warmth spread, another concern hit him. What if their letters weren't enough? Caught in the swell of emotion and determination around him, Jake realized they were at a crucial turning point. Would they truly rise to the occasion and unite for their shared home? Or would uncertainty dilute their strength? And as the day progressed, bringing out even more creative ideas, one question rose above the rest. What if this was only the beginning of a fight that would test the very bonds of their community? Lily's excitement rolled through the crowd like waves, and for a moment, Jake felt overwhelmed by a mixture of pride and anxiety. He watched as she moved from one person to another, rallying families and friends. It was as if the air vibrated with possibility. But somewhere in that spark, a nagging doubt murmured at the back of his mind. "Okay, everyone," Lily called out, standing on a picnic table to capture everyone's attention. "Let us make this happen. After lunch, we'll have a letter-writing station over there." She pointed toward a shaded area draped in colorful blankets, a space that would soon be filled with kids and adults crafting their messages of support. The crowd cheered, their spirits buoyed by her enthusiasm. Jake took a deep breath, feeling the sun warm his skin. But that warmth was mixed with the growing unease about the bank's looming decision. Could a few heartfelt letters really sway them? As the crowd dispersed to enjoy their picnic, Jake settled onto the grass beside Lily. She was busy sketching ideas for their letters, her pencil dancing across the paper like she was crafting a masterpiece. He admired her focus, but a part of him felt that she was unaware of the real risks they were facing. You know, sweetheart, he began slowly, writing letters is good, but it might not be enough. We need to think bigger. Lily glanced up, surprise flickering in her eyes. Dad, what do you mean? He hesitated, knowing he didn't want to crush her excitement. I mean, we might need to organize a meeting with the bank or do something more drastic. Her brow furrowed. Like what? Maybe a protest? Or a community gathering where we can all speak together. Lily's face lit up with determination. That's a great idea. But let us keep the talent show moving first. We can build on the energy from this. Besides, if we all unite, they can't ignore us. Jake smiled, feeling a surge of encouragement from her resilience. But something in the pit of his stomach twisted. Would they really be able to harness that energy? Could they sustain momentum without burning out? As the afternoon wore on, laughter and cheer filled the park once more. Children performed skits that had everyone rolling in the grass with laughter. Parents clapped, and the threat of the bank auction slipped from his consciousness for a brief moment. But then, just like that, Emma took the stage again. This time with a sturdy pile of colorful blank papers in hand. Okay, everyone. Let us get to writing. The young girl beamed as she passed out sheets, and rings of kids and parents gathered around, creativity igniting like fireworks. Jake watched in awe as he saw families bonding over their letters, memories shared, stories crafted. It felt good, uplifting, and there was an unmistakable current of hope flowing through the crowd. Just as he had begun to let his own worries settle, he noticed Emma's gaze drift over to him. There was that flicker again, something deeper behind her eyes. Mr. Jake, she called, her small voice confident and ringing. Can you encourage the grown-ups to help us with their letters too? Something about her request struck him. What was Emma really hoping to achieve? He agreed, but couldn't shake the feeling that not everything was as simple as it seemed. There was a fire in her, a passion that felt almost prophetic. Would they find the courage to hone in on that passion and fight together for something so much larger than themselves? As families began crafting their letters, the atmosphere buzzed with energy and resolve, though Jake remained lost in thought. Was there an element to all of this that he was missing? He glanced down to Lily, who was already scribbling away, her young hands transitioning dreams of hope into earnest pleas for support. And in that moment, Jake recognized the shift. They were creating something beyond just letters. They were forming a movement. But just as he contemplated the potential in that realization, a shadow flickered somewhere in the back of his mind. Was the cost of their fight truly worth it? And as the gathering grew louder, with excitement, one question loomed over Jake. What if this innocent day transformed into a full-blown battle for their community's future? As Jake sat there, poised between doubt and the unfolding joy around him, he couldn't help but feel the weight of the moment. Lily's laughter floated on the breeze, mingled with the sounds of happiness echoing from the crowd. But the cheer felt fragile, like glass poised on the edge of a table, ready to shatter with one wrong move. He finally pulled himself up and headed towards the letter-writing station, where families were huddled over papers, pens moving quickly. Emma was demonstrating how to decorate the letters, her artistic flair bringing out the kid in everyone. Jake approached, feeling the warmth of her enthusiasm wash over him. Hey Emma, he said, kneeling beside her. This is amazing work you're doing. It really brings everyone together. Her eyes sparkled. Thanks, Mr. Jake. We're going to show the bank how much we love this place. They can't take our community away, right? Jake sat back on his heels, taking in her innocent but fervent spirit. You're right. But sometimes it takes a lot more than just love to save something. Emma furrowed her brow for a moment, contemplating his words. Then let us show them. If we write really good letters, they'll have to listen. Jake couldn't shake the sense that Emma was onto something essential. She represented the heart of the community, full of spirit and commitment. Could they really turn this moment into action? Lily, Jake called, and she bounded over, her face flushed with excitement. Emma thinks these letters are all we need. What do you think? Lily paused, looked around at all the families creating something meaningful. They can't just ignore these letters. But what if we made a video too? Like a little documentary about what this place means to us. We can show it to the bank. Jake felt a rush of pride. That was exactly the kind of thinking they needed. That's a fantastic idea. Let us get people talking about their memories. We could gather voices from everyone, not just letters. Lily's eyes brightened. And we can include tape from the talent show too. It'll show how much this place matters to us. As they strategized, Jake saw spark after spark igniting all around him. Families were sharing amusing anecdotes and heartfelt memories as they wrote. Children chuckled, trying to outdo each other in creativity, transforming plain paper into vivid expressions of love. Hours passed quickly, and the sun began its descent, painting the sky in strokes of orange and pink. Jake was documenting little moments on his phone, Lily with her friends, the laughter erupting from the various tables, Emma enthusiastically presenting her suggestions. Everything felt electric with possibility. But just as the sun dipped below the horizon, Jake sensed a shift in the atmosphere. An unfamiliar figure stepped onto the edge of the park, a suited man with sharp features, scanning the crowd with a calculating eye. Jake's heart stuttered. Who was he? Did he come to check on the bank's interest? Hey Lily, he breathed, nodding toward the man. You see that guy? Lily looked over, her smile quickly fading. What is he doing here? Not sure, Jake replied, the unease settling back into his stomach. But we might need to be ready, just in case. As the crowd continued their joyful efforts, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that their innocent day had uncovered a tension beyond their gathered spirit. Beneath all the cheer, the stakes were rising, and their fight was just beginning. What did it mean for their community now that the bank had noticed? And what would happen if they were unprepared for whatever challenge lay ahead? The tension in the air thickened as the man in the suit took deliberate steps closer to their gathering. Jake could see families exchanging glances, laughter fading into whispers of uncertainty. He felt the need to act, to keep spirits high, even as worry gnawed at him. What do we do? Lily's voice shook slightly. Let us keep focusing on our project, Jake said, trying to sound steady. We're here to celebrate our community, right? That hasn't changed. Emma had begun a new round of cheerleading, encouraging everyone to share their favorite memories. Who wants to go next? She beamed, tapping her pen against the table. What is your favorite memory of the park? Lily prompted a nearby family, trying to gather more voices. A mother chuckled as she recalled a picnic gone wrong, ketchup splattering all over her young son. Laughter erupted, breaking through the tension, momentarily easing Jake's anxiety. But that suited man hovered at the edge, absorbing it all like a hawk ready to swoop down. Jake felt a knot tighten around his heart. What if he carried bad news? What if his presence meant the bank's disapproval of their heartfelt project? He took a deep breath, willing his mind to steady. Let us do something bold, he suggested, glancing at Lily and Emma, who looked back at him intrigued. How about we invite him in? What if we ask him to share why he's here? If we just leave him standing there, that could cause more worry. But what if he is here to shut us down? Lily whispered, her youthful resolve wavering. Jake knelt to look directly into her eyes. Or maybe he is here to learn. What if he is the key to making them understand what this place means? With a deep breath, he stood and waved at the man, who was now watching them closely. Excuse me, Jake called, his voice stronger than he felt. Can you come join us? We'd love to share what we're doing here. The man hesitated, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. Then slowly he approached, straightening his tie as he did. I'm just here to observe, he replied coolly. Almost dismissively, Jake fought against a wave of disappointment, but he pressed on. Observe? Well, we're creating letters and sharing memories to show how much this park means to us. It's a community effort. We're even making a video. The man raised an eyebrow, his expression unreadable. You think letters and a video will make a difference to a bank? More than that, Jake replied, passion rising in his chest. This is about us. It's about the kids, the families, the love we share. It's about refusing to let go of something that has brought us together. We believe that could matter to someone like you. Lily stepped forward, her small hand grasping the edge of the table. Please come hear our stories, she urged. Jake watched her confidence grow, inspired by her courage. For a moment the man observed, his sharp features softening just a fraction. All right, he said, lowering himself onto the edge of their table. "Show me what you've got." The crowd buzzed back to life, a wave of excitement rippling through them as people began to talk animatedly, sharing stories woven with laughter and tears. Jake felt hope blossom in his chest. Maybe this interaction could turn the tide as more and more voices filled the air. Jake took a quick glance at the man's face. He seemed captivated, albeit reluctant, charmed slightly by the sheer warmth and resilience around him. But just as the atmosphere shifted and the creative energy surged, Jake noticed the distant sound of sirens approaching. His stomach twisted. What else could this evening bring? "Is that what I think it is?" Jake murmured, concern pooling in his chest. The suited man's eyes widened slightly, and Jake held his breath, feeling the ground shift beneath their feet yet again. Would this night bring even more challenges? The sirens grew closer, their wailing echoing through the park, dismantling all fragile hopes. What were they truly up against now? As the wailing sirens filled the air, the collective laughter and chatter began to fade. Jake's heart raced, uncertainty washing over him like a cold wave. He glanced at Lily, her bright face dimming with apprehension. The suited man shifted on his seat, eyes narrowing as he attempted to gauge the situation. "What is happening?" Emma whispered, gripping her letter tightly. Jake chose his words carefully, trying to shield the kids from panic. "Just a precaution, I'm sure. Stay close." But deep down, unease clawed at his insides. The sirens had to mean one of two things: something tragic or something significant that would affect their community. As the police cars rolled into the park, their red and blue lights swirling like thunder across the faces of those present, the energy shifted ominously. The officer stepped out, surveying the scene before making his way toward the group. The crowd fell silent, anticipation hanging in the air like thick fog. Jake's mind raced. Would they shut them down? Could this be the end of their efforts to save not just their home but the heart of their community? The officer cleared his throat, steadying himself as he began to speak. "Good evening, folks. I'm Officer Green. We received reports of a rally in progress and came to check in. We want to make sure everyone is safe." "Is that what this is?" Jake stepped forward, heart pounding but determination fueling his voice. "Yes, officer, we're gathering support to save our community center, sharing stories and memories to show how much it means to us." The officer nodded slowly, his stern features softening momentarily as he surveyed the ongoing interactions among the families. Jake could see the glimmers of pride as they shared heartfelt experiences. It felt like magic, each story linked them tighter, weaving a tapestry of resilience. The suited man spoke up, surprising Jake. "I believe these stories are important. The community spirit shown here is quite compelling." His voice, originally cold, now held a note of sincerity. Officer Green glanced at the man, then back at Jake. "That is good to hear. Just so you know, we're here to support. As long as you keep it friendly, you're welcome to do what you're doing." Relief washed over Jake like a soothing balm. The tension lifted slightly. Laughter began to bubble back through the crowd as people exchanged glances. Before he could celebrate, Lily sprinted towards him, her eyes wide with excitement. "Did you hear that, Dad? We can keep going." "I did, kiddo. Let us make the most of it." With renewed energy, Jake spread the word. "Everyone, we have the green light to keep sharing our stories. Let us finish strong." Encouragement spread like wildfire. The crowd erupted in cheers and laughter echoed again. Each family told their favorite moments in the park. Emma's voice stood out as she recounted how she learned to ride her bike on the same path where she now played. But amid the stories, Jake felt the same flicker of doubt returning. Time was slipping through their fingers. The bank's decision was still lurking ahead. Just as families gathered resources for their letters, Jake and Lily began working on their video project. The camera captured every poignant moment, every laugh. Each story breathed life into their mission. The community wasn't just rallying for the center. They were standing together, each voice adding to an unbreakable bond. When it came time for Lily to speak on camera, she took a deep breath. "This park is special to us. It's where I learned to have fun with my friends and spent countless days with my dad. We want it to be there for everyone. It isn't just grass and swings, it's our memories." Jake held the camera steady, his heart brimming with pride. Lily wasn't just sharing her life. She was sharing their fight. The community's response surged, nods of agreement, smiles of understanding, But as the evening sun began to set, he couldn't shake the reality that weighed heavy. The bank's auction still loomed ahead like a dark cloud. Just then, the suited man approached them again. "I have to say what you're doing here is impressive. And if the decision at the bank is made purely on community value, I can assure you it stands a chance. If I could connect you to decision makers, it might just tip the scales." "What do you mean?" Jake asked, hope battling against skepticism in his chest. "I can help organize a meeting. It'll give you a chance to present your stories and faces to those who matter." The words hit Jake like a lightning bolt. They could take it further. Faces instead of just letters. "Yes, let us do it. We'll show them everything." "That is great. But you must also be ready to present strong evidence about how this place is vital to us. Gather your letters, testimonials, the more voices, the better." Lily's eyes sparkled, excitement bubbling within as she turned to Jake. "We can make this happen. We've got to show them why it's worth fighting for." "Yes, I'm in too," Emma chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. As they wrapped up their gathering, Jake marveled at the outpouring of effort from the community. Each family had contributed, and voices merged into a concerted moment of defiance against their struggles. As darkness fell, and families departed, Jake and Lily stayed behind to gather their things. The park felt different, charged with hope and unity. "Dad, do you think we can really save it?" Lily asked softly, her earlier confidence now tinged with vulnerability. "I think we can make them care. We have to believe that our stories matter." Together they faced the journey ahead, one step at a time. This was their tricky adventure. But more than that, it was a fight for everything worth living for. And somehow Jake realized they were not alone anymore. Tomorrow would bring challenges, but it would also bring a chance to fight, to connect, to belong. As they turned to leave the park, Jake felt a new kind of strength anchored in unity and love. They were ready to face whatever came next together. And in that moment, one final truth rang loud and clear. This was just the beginning of a transformation, a communal triumph waiting to unfold. Now it's your turn to be part of this journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Tell us how you're feeling about this inspiring ending by dropping a comment. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let's make this happen.